Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Borderless Minds, a podcast where we talk about everything ADHD and mental health related. No BS, just real talk that actually makes sense. Today, I want to talk about something that explains so much about ADHD behavior. It's called now versus not now. If you have ADHD, you probably already know what I mean without me even explaining it. But let me break it down because understanding this changed how I see myself. Let's get into it. So, here's the thing about ADHD brains and time. Most people's brains organize time in a linear way. They have today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. They can see time stretched out in front of them like a timeline. ADHD brains don't work like that. For us, there are only two times, now and not now. ADHD researcher Russell Barkley described this as time being split into two parts. What's on our radar right now and everything else that's beyond our radar. If something isn't happening right now, it falls into the vague category of not now, and it all feels the same distance away. Next week feels the same as next year. Tomorrow feels as the same as 3 months from now. This is all just not now. The only things that feel real are things happening right now. This moment, this task, this conversation. Everything else, it might as well not exist yet. This isn't a choice. It's just how ADHD brains process time. We can't see the future the same way other people can. So why do ADHD brains work this way? It goes back to executive function and dopamine, which I've talked about in episode 1. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that help you plan and think about the future, works differently in ADHD brains. It is not as good at projecting forward in time. Most people can think about a future event like a test next week and their brain releases dopamine just thinking about that future reward or consequence. That dopamine motivates them to prepare now for something happening later. But ADHD brains don't release dopamine for future events the same way. We need immediate rewards. If something isn't happening right now, our brain doesn't get the chemical signal that says this matters. This is called temporal discounting, when future rewards or consequences are undervalued compared to immediate reward things. For ADHD brains, this effect is even stronger. That test next week, my brain doesn't care. It is not now. The consequences feel unreal. But the day before the test, suddenly it is now. And now my brain cares. Now I can focus. And now I feel motivated. This is why people with ADHD work well under pressure. It's not that we're adrenaline junkies. It's that pressure and urgency move things from not now into now. And that's the only time our brains fully engage. This now versus not now affects literally everything. Procrastination, tasks in the not now category don't feel real or compelling until they become urgent enough to shift into the now category. So you procrastinate until the last minute, not because you're lazy, but because your brain literally can't engage with something that is not now. Being late, the appointment at 3 p.m. it's not now until it's 2:58 p.m. and then suddenly you realize you need to leave and you're not ready. You can't feel the future, so you don't plan for it. Forgetting things. If something isn't happening right now, it doesn't feel real, so you forget about appointments, forget to follow up on things, forget about tasks you need to do because they're all in the not now zone where your brain isn't paying attention. Long-term goals. You want to save money, exercise regularly, learn a new skill. All of those things require sacrificing now for a payoff later. But ADHD brains struggle with delayed gratification. The future payoff doesn't feel real enough to motivate present action. Hyperfocus. On the flip side, when something is in the now category, when it's interesting, urgent, or emotionally relevant, you can focus for hours. Activities that are in the now category are characterized by urgency. So your brain finally has the dopamine it needs, so you hyperfocus and lose track of time completely. I've had projects that I needed to work on for weeks. I couldn't start them. They were not now. Then the deadline is tomorrow, and suddenly I can work for 12 hours straight because it's in the now category. Here's something interesting. A lot of people with ADHD develop coping mechanisms around this, and that actually hide the problem. Growing up, many people with ADHD would have gotten into trouble, missed opportunities, or suffered consequences of not getting things done on time. So they develop learned behavior to counteract this, doing everything immediately. I know people with ADHD who are obsessive about tasks completion. The second they get an email, they respond, and the second they think of something, they do it. They live in a constant sense of urgency. This seems the opposite of procrastination, but it's actually the same thing. It's a coping mechanism driven by fear, learned from past experiences. They're terrified of things falling into the not now and disappearing. So they force everything to be now by doing it immediately. This can look like OCD. It can look like anxiety, but really it's just ADHD and the now versus not now in disguise. I do this too. I either do something immediately or I won't do it at all, because I know if it falls into not now, there's a good chance I will forget it exists. So now you understand why typical time management advice doesn't work for ADHD brains. So for people who say just plan ahead, my brain doesn't see the future the same way yours does. Planning ahead requires believing the future is real, and my brain struggles with that. Or people who say just start early. Early means not now, and my brain can't engage with not now. Or people who say think about the consequences. Future consequences don't feel real to my brain. Only present consequences do. Or people who say use a planner. Sure, I can write things down, but when I look at my planner, everything is in there is not now. The ADHD brain lumps all not now events together as one lump with no blocks of time in between. Next Tuesday feels exactly the same as next month. People think we're being irresponsible or careless, but we're not. We're fighting against a brain that literally processes time differently than theirs do or does. So what actually helps? Make time visible, although this does not work for me at all. Use clocks, timers, visual calendars. If you can see time passing, it becomes more real. But I have something that it's called time blindness. I don't understand what time is, so I am going to make one of the episodes in this podcast will be about time blindness, or more than one episode. Create artificial urgency. Set earlier deadlines. Tell people you will have something done sooner than you actually need to. Create consequences for yourself that make things feel like now. Break everything into smaller pieces. Big projects feel like not now, forever, but small tasks, those can feel like now. So break that big thing into tiny pieces, each with its own immediate deadline. Use external accountability. Tell someone else about your goals. Check in with people. When someone else is expecting something from you, it moves from not now to now, because there's an immediate social consequence. Pair boring tasks with immediate rewards. Your brain needs dopamine to engage, so you give it dopamine. Listen to music you love while doing chores. Reward yourself immediately after completing a task. Make the present moment more rewarding so your brain will engage. Accept that you work well under pressure. I spent years feeling bad about being a last minute person, but pressure is what moves things into now for my brain. So instead of fighting it, I've learned to use it. So the now versus not now. That is how ADHD brains experience time. It is not poor planning, it is not laziness. It's your brain having a different relationship with time, a shorter time horizon where the future doesn't feel as real as the present. Once you understand this, so much about ADHD makes sense. The procrastination, the hyperfocus, the being late, and the last minute panic. Your brain isn't broken, it just experiences time in two categories instead of a timeline. And once you understand that and you know that, you can stop beating yourself up and start finding strategies that actually work with your brain. If this helped, please subscribe for more and let me know in the comment what you want me to cover next. I actually read them. You're not broken, you're just figuring it out like everybody else. So, see you on the next one.